We leaving Vassal and Cavalry?
Vassal needs to be aggressive, and Cat inherently puts you into the mindset of being. I don't know what happened. The shit. So the cav roll makes Vassal much more assertive, and I just need it to continue for him to be more assertive because he's actively forced to look for opportunities.
Yeah,
Like,
which, by the way, that North attack, good job.
yeah, yeah. Vassal did that
Uh,
little.
that ended the game.
Yeah, it did. Vassal did a game under.
Those niggas had the markets up there, man.
Yeah,
That's what really ended it.
well,
It was
it's back to what I pointed out in the first game. I'm like, hey, their markets are forward, so that's a target of opportunity.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, he show saw the wall and he gave up immediately. It was great.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why he just did that. Logan's super demoralized.
Of course he is.
He's building all sorts of like. I mean, I was ready for him if he came with on it, Rams and shit, but I don't know. He built all his siege work. He was trying to build his siege workshops in the front.
I know.
Uh
I know.
oh no.
Did you see the game prior? Like he made a
Yeah,
wall of siege workshops.
yeah.
I'm like, what
And he
the
was
hell?
complaining, unfortunately. I don't know. Wasn't that wasn't optimal. He's struggling on this new map. Now it's more strategic. That's all right though. Good learning experience.
Yeah.
You did great, by the way, with taking over and then doing the D thing, and that was great.
Yeah. Vassal just went in for the
And
raids,
Fassel,
man.
yeah, Fassel, you see those raids? Man, those raids made a big difference. It's keeping them off kilter just enough where they just can't.
yeah.
Yo, they were just gonna get wrecked, but the Ellies were just gonna be popping.
Bro, they're dying. They're barely holding, and you
I
weren't even
know,
there.
I know. I was like, shit, can't do anything.
Yeah, you weren't even there. It's just like
Well, they struggled because of that market business. But if they go and start onagering and trying to do all of that, it's gonna delay them big time.
yeah.
That's the thing. It's gonna delay.
I know.
Two people have to do it, and then they'll lose center again.
Yup.
So there's like a delicate balance that they have to play with.
The Franks.
Frankie Franks.
One thing I didn't understand was why Logan built all those siege workshops on the other side of the map.
You know, he was like, yeah, maybe we'll push from here.
Except for one bombard cannons, and they're destroying all the siege workshops.
Yeah. You know, basically Logan quit and he was frustrated because the market thing and then losing initially and then eventually the market and then they were screwed. And even then they didn't figure out that we need to clear and reset the markets.
Yeah. They got celts in the Franks. The Franks.
Frankie Franks.
What you want to do this time, Vassal?
You let me know. Cumans or something?
Against Franks, I'd rather you do Toots, maybe Lithuanians. I don't know.
But
What?
what's a good civ?
Um, I mean, if is it between those two that you are thinking?
No, whatever. Just give me a clue.
Um, um, you could go Persians and just kind of do the pally and you have like camels too. So if he builds like heavy, you know, you could build a set of camels and a set of pallies. You know, he'll end up making pallies only. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So basically, you just make sure that your camels are not necessarily, you know, they're not as tanky, but they'll tear his pallies apart. So it's really a matter of like how you want to engage him. Like if you were to engage him, always engage him with a mix of units like pallies and camels together. Engage him that way.
Okay.
And but if you're gonna go in and take out onagers, it should be only pallies, not camels.
Cool.
So you'll have to figure out like how to quickly single tap on the screen. Like if you have them together and single tap and then you only get the pallies and then they can go in and charge and take out. But like as usual, you need multiple groups, Fassel. Multiple groups, mostly groups that are gonna go in and attack the for like raiding and all that other stuff, Fassel. All pallies. But then when you engage him defensively or when you engage him, you deal it you're gonna attack him with camels. That's what you're gonna do.
Okay. Sure, it went from here.
Zakamir. Zakamir. Now, let's take a look. See.
So he's envisioning elephants.
Ellis.
A battle.
Ellis.
Battle of elephants.
Allies. They're like, so what do you think they're gonna do? They're like, listen, we need the bigger, longer trade. So we're ready to give up stuff, but we'll get the bigger trade.
Honestly, that just you say that just made me want to go hunt. Just not gonna lie, that made me want to go hunt, but I'm not going to. Celts, Persians, or Celts, Khmer, and Franks. How do you feel about the Brits?
We need onagers.
Yeah, I figured.
You could do Mayans, right?
No.
No.
Or Incas. Who are the ones with the onagers and the?
No, I guess just the worst case. I mean, just saying the worst case there, it's going to be a pretty tanky elephant line with the ballistas in the back. So how are you going to take the ballistas? You need onagers or something, and you need something tanky enough to do it.
Mongols, then?
Um.
I haven't played Mongols today.
Oh. Yeah. I mean, if you want to, you're still going to be able to contest mid.
A little
How about
bit
Indians?
tougher, but I think you should be able to do it.
Okay, if you want, you could do that. It's just that, how are you going to protect the onagers?
How's an Indians pick?
Indians is a good pick, but I mean, if you were going to do it, you might as well do Indians then. Because you get the, well, I guess they don't get the heavy onagers, right?
Correct, they do not.
Hmm?
Mongols.
Um, okay, I mean, you can do Mongols if you want, because you haven't played them. If you feel like you want to do that.
Zaporozhians. Hey, Vassal, can you do me a solid when I get in the mid, right? Can you send just one singular bombard cannon? Because I have a tendency to attack it with bombard cannons.
Okay.
Because you should have a if you don't have a siege workshop, don't worry about it. How
No,
about
I'll
that?
have to have overseas workshop because I got a
I know,
onager for-
but I'm saying if I get there and you don't have a siege workshop up, don't worry about it.
All right.
I'll just defend it off under the play.
Rams are great to tank their ballista elephants is stupid shit. You don't need
Indeed.
that many in there.
Indeed.
But you gotta unlock as much wood. I mean, usually either side wood's gonna be open because we'll have to do the trade, and then any other thing is a bonus.
Wood hasn't been a major issue for me. I'm getting it from the center. Well, from the 4 in the middle, the center, and then I expand to the both sides.
Okay.
So wood hasn't been an issue to me because I've been getting wood from like
Somehow,
3
Festo, you're able to
places.
get stone, or eventually you can, eventually switch to making some elephants, not that many. But I'm just saying, like, you're still mostly heavily stables between, like, you're basically tracking. You're not only tracking Sharky, but usually when you kill him, or you track him with camels in the back, you can still do damage with your pallies in the back line, or get their onagers, or do whatever. It just don't charge the ballistas and all that shit directly. You have to always flank or from the sides, never from the front.
You went toots.
The two towns!
Feeling that he wants to join in on the cavalry slash bombard tower rush.
Well,
That will require getting to the stone.
yeah. Helps a little bit to get to the stone. Just a little bit.
Hold on, it's not. What the hell?
Hmm?
I won't
Can't
go
pick a
second.
civ.
Yeah, I guess I'll just help. Where is it? I'll just help out.
You know what's low key kind of funny?
What's that?
We can all build camels.
Yeah, yeah. By the way, once the Ellies are down, they'll collapse fairly quickly. As long as we have like archers to back up. I'm still food and Fassel's food, and you're the wood guy.
Indeed, I am. I am indeed the wood guy. I am
Which
the
wood?
wood, the guy of the wood.
The guy of the wood. Hmm.
Tables up, queuing up scouts.
My stable is going up, good sir. Queuing up first scout. Idleville. First scout, away! Logan scout.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, I mean I'm gonna. Yeah, he's gonna get it here, right here. Watch. Oh, nice. Okay, you got him.
Haha! I got Logan's villager though.
Right here.
Oh, I got one of my villagers too. Woohoo!
Ooh, interesting. All right. Okay.
Oh, it's interesting.
Please tell me no. I got. I wasn't even looking, and I picked up another Logan's villagers. What was that?
What did you say?
Boars. They're luring boars in.
Oh. Well, I wasn't even looking, and I picked off another one of Logan's villagers on accident. That was funny.
Proceeding with the plan. Alright, Saman, I'm working on the siege workshop. Let me know what your ETA is on the mid.
Copy. My TC just went up. Building my siege workshop now. As soon as that goes up, I'm gonna be queuing up an onager. Here. I got a little too caught up in causing some mayhem back there. Cutting in the mid now.
They got 2 people working that area, by the way.
I know.
It's a bombardier coming up for you. Making more scouts.
Of course, Logan. Of course, the map's tilted. That's your new excuse. Vassal, can you finish cutting?
I think you can move, come in.
Thank you. There's Logan's bombard cannon. Totally called it.
Coming in.
I queued up my markets. Still has a bombard can. Castle.
Okay. Counter sniping. Counter sniped.
Shank you. Shank you.
Continuing to clear out spaces.
Making market.
Yeah, Logan, what you gonna do now? You lost your onager.
Alright, queue up your carts, guys.
Copy that. Cards queued. I have 15 farmers, 25 lumberjacks, 8 miners on gold.
5. Fix that.
Rams. He's building rams.
The Rams have been there. He tried coming forward with an onager, I sniped the onager, and then you retreated with the Rams. Sending 2 scouts out. Not watching them right now.
Getting to clear boars. Taking more scouts.
Look, this isn't so busy. Like, he's also used this one onager.
His onager's gonna die.
Nah, he's gonna micro it to, yeah, get your dude. Told you.
Make another one. Send another one over.
No, Logan. No, Logan. Oh my god. Okay, Shark, he's building pallies.
Gosh. I'll work on some camels.
Pallies are moving.
Timo. Amr Mindu. Titimban. Amr Mindu. Bardakchung. Bardakchung. Bardakchung.
Sending a couple more
They were
guys.
markets up here again.
Of course they did. Logan must be pissed how many villagers I fucking killed. He's probably gonna blow his fuse because of that. So I'll just be on alert. I'm gonna build a couple scorps, queuing them over here. Starting to queue up some cav archers. Logan has a stable up here.
Oh, they're all coming.
Guess who already built the wall? I'm sorry.
Wow, that's hilarious. Bruh. Damn.
I told you Logan was gonna blow its load somehow.
We need pikes there. Just in case.
Bro, that shit was too funny.
Yours, villagers.
I've got an onager up there.
Let me know what you're thinking.
Fassel, do you think we can do a raid up
Yeah.
here? I
We
can back
can.
you up with the
You want me
cav
to-
archers.
You want me to take down the towers?
No, we can just go around where your villagers are at with the cav.
Right.
Just let me know when you're
Good.
ready.
I'm ready. Let's go.
Alright, you
On my
lead,
way.
I'll follow.
Copy. He's very unhappy with the map. He says he's messaging me on WhatsApp. He's saying Logan is.
I
not
know he
really
is.
playing, I'm fucking around. Map is trash. I proved a point.
Proved a point.
He says you guys are so favored.
Of course he does.
Well, he should have switched. I mean,
Building a couple archery ranges up there. Yeah, I saw. Vassal, you just lost like all your cavalry, and they're
Timo, Amor Mindu. Bitin Banjung. Zafir Bardakjung. Timo.
Make bombard cannons.
Zaza.
You're getting sniped by this guy.
yeah, no, I saw.
Timo. Amor Mindu. Bardakjung.
Vassal, can you send a couple? Actually, I have a couple scouts. Send a couple scouts forward. These scouts would like to actually go forward. Large key of Ellie's here, and skirms. Sharky's got a key. Pally's right there as well. Munsif's got trebs. Shoaib's got trebs as well. They have a castle and lots of halberdiers from Munsif right there. Something tells me they bought stone again.
Yeah.
Zafir. Amor Mindu.
You got boars chasing you, Vassal. Yeah, see, there's the treb.
Zafir. Bardakjung. Bardakjung. Timo.
Archers are falling back for right now. Alright, archers coming back forward.
Sending camels.
Please do, thank you. Picking up some scorps and some monitors. Don't know why this villager is forward, but might as well forward build. Sending a couple rams toward their market.
Bitin ba?
Recreating pallies.
Bardagchung.
Vassal, can you move your units?
Yep, Raj.
Thank you.
Going on there. Cool.
Sharky's paladins are chasing my cab archers in the back, so should have free reign.
What are you
Chasing
talking
his paladins.
about? Oh. He's an idiot.
Sharky's forward castle is about to go down. Sharky's forward castle is down.
Amr Mindu.
Rams are moving forward.
Roger that. Apparently they attacked our farm eco.
I'll see yours.
What's the ping?
Oh,
What's that?
That's what they said. What's the ping? Just saying the stables are all over here.
Timo. Partiu. Bitin ba? Partiu.
I'm finally building my first castle, guys.
Nice.
We're pretty heavily focused on rebuilding. At least Munsif is. Sending another wave of Rams forward.
Very much.
Sending a couple of archers your way, Vassal.
Roger.
Your first castle was created, yes! sending another ram wave.
Okay, we got the resignations.
GG.
GG.
GG, guys.
GG.
GG. Okay, you can find you did get the build a market in the back. It was in the front earlier though. When did you guys get to build a market in the back?
That was towards the end, I think.
Oh, not earlier?
No.
I also killed like all their trade cards.
Yeah, I was trying to mention that to them. It's like, okay, how are we going to manage the trade cards?
Mm-hmm.
And
What do you-
basically,
What do you mean, Sharky? Go ahead.
I think the question I have is how do we? Because basically our trade card placement is inconsistent. Like like one side will have it to the front, and the outside will have it towards the back, which could kind of they have to go through basically the wood line and the Federia line. And it's like it's longer, but it's also kind of inconsistent, especially when people start building in that kind of that lane. And it becomes a real bottleneck for the trade cards.
Yeah, so I guess it's really about like knowing where the trade line's gonna be. So the thing is that if earlier you're trying to get the trade up too quickly, what'll happen is like the trade will move diagonal, which means that just by virtue of where you set the initial, like I'm assuming that where I think where Munsif set the trade cards, or but with the market earlier, it would automatically mean that it would cut through like the middle of everything. Because if you think about it, that early market that was set at 11 o'clock, like, sorry, not 11, sorry, 2 o'clock, like by Munsif side, it forces the trade cards to work diagonal in between everything, right? Like, because for it to happen, you're certainly not going straight, that, you're not going like, you're not going straight. You're kind of like angled it. So what that means is that the problem here is you can't put it to like where Munsif had put it, because if you put it there, you can't do the opposite to your point, because the trade cards will be too in the front and it'll be kind of crappy. So then the other guy on the guys on the other side are forced to build it like all the way at the bottom. But if they do that, it's still not necessarily good, because the trade is diagonally cutting, to your point, Sharky. It's cutting through everything, congesting everything, and then going on the edge, right? So the key there is not to have like the trade card placement. So the initial market placement, I would still say you've got two options. Either you do a smaller trade, if depending on how early you're starting, by the way. I guess one question I have for you, Shub, do you know when you started trading? Does anybody know?
I don't remember. It was fairly, not like super early, but
Uh-huh.
definitely before the battle started happening.
Okay. So I guess my point is that, so the one thing you guys have to understand with the trade is, if you were doing it really early, you could technically place it like not all the way at the edge, but somewhere in the middle of the, in the equidistant between the tree line, the line in between the two trees, like in the middle. You could do it and do the same thing on the other side, equidistant. It would be less hassle, and it would kind of get your trade started. And then when you cut through and do all the stuff, then you guys can decide to build the trade cards on the edge, like the markets on the edges, and then get that full trade going, if that makes sense. Like, so the only thing is, depending on how early you want to start, like technically you probably don't even have to start that early to make that temporary trade card, like the market in the middle of the tree line, the back tree line that you have. What you could do is just clear it and just set the trade properly to start with. So technically you could just do that, and then you wouldn't ever have to worry about like trade cards ever like messing with you So if you wanted to build, like, if you wanted to build gold units early, or lots of them, to actually go and attack early, the problem is that it's not the easiest to do that, especially not in the center, and especially with elephants like the way you had, and maybe that determined how why the markets were set up early. But no matter what you guys do in terms of setting the markets early, and this is for everybody, you got to be able to delete them and build new ones. So if you're going to do like a initial market and then a later market, then people have to decide to delete the markets. But before you delete the market, you need to make other markets first, then delete it, so the trade cards are not stupid. Like because the trade cards will, because what'll happen is if somebody deletes them, and by the way, it works on the other side too. If they delete too quickly, like somebody's trade cards mid lane will just entirely stop. They'll just stand still, and it'll be hell trying to figure out where the trade cards are stopped in the whole line, right? So it's best to just always have the market. So if the guy on one side decides to destroy the market to reform it, the other guy needs to make sure his markets are there, or waits for him to build his market. Once he has a destination to go to, then he deletes and then he remakes it. My opinion though, set the markets right properly. Like, you don't need to trade that early.
The other thing I was talking about was that if we can technically get to mid, right? That's another way for us to get some initial gold where we don't have to necessarily be trading that early,
True.
right?
True.
But I guess, I don't know, I was just looking at the replay. Logan, I guess, were you off with your pops and stuff, or? Because in mid game, not mid game, but close to mid game, I mean, it's kind of weird because Salman was like at 135 pop. I was actually ironically 135 as well. And then Logan was like at 63. So I don't know if there was like some weird stuff going on or something, but
What are you talking about?
the pop counts,
Mm-hmm.
like towards the middle of the game, right? Like,
Logan
you were,
lost a lot of shit in mid.
No, I'm saying his houses. I guess you took out his houses too or something, or no? Because his total pop out is 63 out of 75 is what I'm getting at.
Mm.
As opposed to like I'm 135 out of 160, right? And then you're like obviously 135 out of 145, and even Sharky's like at 93 out of 130.
What's up with the largest armies? 28? That's it.
That's anecdotal. That's just anecdotal at a particular point in time. I mean, it just says that, oh, it's this largest army is this. That happened to be the largest at the time, but it doesn't mean that you didn't have armies at other times. So.
Or
But
it
I
could
guess-
be all 28 is Salt Siege.
Yeah. Yeah, because he was Celts, right?
I was killed.
No, I'm not
Oh,
saying-
sorry. So what was Logan?
Logan was
Toots.
a Teuton.
Toots. Okay. Well, he was building cavalry, yes. I think he was building pallies.
Dude,
Right.
oh, Siege.
He was building siege too.
Yeah, he was
Yeah.
building some siege too.
Okay. So that was gonna drain him if he was gonna do. So I guess then okay, it doesn't matter. Even though Munsif was Celt, he wasn't really building necessarily going to be doing all siege. He had more infantry and that sort of stuff. So I mean that's okay. The thing is that Logan wouldn't have that many units because he was building siege as Toots, and maybe the bombard towers. I think he did that.
Yeah, he did
But-
one or two.
Yeah, I mean, nothing too crazy. So other than siege, which he wouldn't have a big army. Like he would have a few onagers interspersed between all of you guys. Like that's what he would be doing. So that's not really like unreasonable. I guess like where his his onagers dying like too quickly or something. Was that what's going on?
Hmm?
Was that what's going on? His onagers were down too quickly?
He was losing some of the trades with versus my onagers.
I see. Okay. Yeah, and then I guess like the gold became a problem eventually. I mean, it was
What
just
was the perspectives on the space from your sides? This time it was a big deal, right? It was a significant deal. So how was space issues this time around?
I think a little bit
Nope.
better than last time around, but still we're very late to utilize those extra spaces in the corners, right, in the back. Again. It wasn't as cramped as the previous games in terms of buildings, but still.
Right. Well, I liked how you guys were contesting the mid without taking mid. I don't know if you noticed the Bombard Tower was doing work. I mean, so you guys were kind of like doing pretty okay, actually, in mid. Would have loved to see those, that the forces actually, attack on the other side though. Because I think you did have an advantage. When you guys came in that early, that mid, to come up mid, you guys had a pretty big advantage at the time. With the Ellies. Providing cover. So at that time, I think a better hit would have been to use the Ellie's strength, not to run them through here because they would be too cramped anyway, but to basically go to the other side and then really attack. Because everything was like, I think our side was still, I mean, we had pikes and everything, but I mean, even gold we didn't have that much gold. So, I mean, you guys were probably more invested, I would say. And that's the advantage, right? Like, because you set up the trade early, I think, and even it was diagonal, but it still gave you a good amount. Because I think, Shoaib, you had, like, quite a decent number of Ellies.
Yeah.
So, I don't think you were hurting. Hey, Munsif, were you hurting for gold early? Or
I didn't have problem with gold. I was trading very well. So.
Nice. Okay. So, and Sharky, how were you doing with the gold?
Well, it was good early on, but I think I started suffering when our trade got raided and we weren't able to exploit center resources.
Sure. Okay. Yeah, and that's fine. That's later in the game. That's not earlier in the game. So, I guess like early, then I don't think you guys should have that much of a problem making that push though. In center. I mean, you guys came up with some good stuff. You could have used the Scorps with the Onagers, with the Trebs, and then the Ellies do interference, and then the Pallies, your Pallies, take out our Onagers. Kind of do it that way.
Yeah, what's weird to me is that I think that when the first two games were starting, I was managing mid, and I was losing mid. You guys pretty much won the first two games, right? When I was mid. What changed was Saman was switched out, right? So Saman denied mid, right? And that dwindled your overall coffers so that you couldn't, when you guys were contesting mid, you started to dial in and take advantage of as much as you guys could. And then you immediately produced the necessary forces, and you just came, all the way through. So, again, same map, same space-related issues, same, if you're counting boars or whatever else, right? Maybe less boars on my side, but you kicked my ass first two games, right? It was a resignation on our side, right? Hitting problems notwithstanding, you guys basically steamrolled first two games, right? So I'm just saying what was different was Saman handled mid, and I believe Shoaib is correct in his instinct that mid was the pivotal point, more so than space. If you guys had crashed in on mid like you did before, denied mid, I think the games could have gone different.
I mean, technically, all I'm saying is it's an opportunity cost thing, you know. So, for example, I mean, you guys never got an opportunity to see that because I had like the issues, but just because, it's a 4v3 context, even though this can easily go 4v4. But here's the deal, right? When people commit to mid, you can literally burn them because so much time, effort, and energy goes into taking mid. Like, by that time, you can set up good trade, and you can come in and make the game about non-castle units. The moment you make the game about non-castle units, and the fact that you make them farm gold, they're so committed to that, the sides are too vulnerable. We never got to see that, by the way. I would have loved to show you guys in the first 2 games how you guys were going to get wrecked from Faisal side all the way in. Sorry, Salman side all the way in. Because we were flush with gold. Because of our trade. So, think about it this way. The opportunity cost was what? I spend time, effort, and energy to go to mid. I am not doing clearing. So if I'm not necessarily doing clearing and setting my trade properly, what did I do by doing that? I made sure that it's going to be so slow for you to mine. So you're not going to get the stone. That's a fact. You're not going to immediately get the stone. Which means you'll start initially getting some gold. But our trade carts in the game time are just much better set up. Like per villager for you versus per trade card for us, we just beat you. Like we'll just beat you no matter what. So the thing is, the thing is like, then the race starts, right? The pressure really ramps up because you never get to really, apart from selling resources to build one castle, you really never get to fully appreciate castle units. So all I'm saying is, if you noticed in our last games, a lot of the games it's less about the castle units. It's all about all the other types of units. And then usually with the other types of units, it leads to the the layering issue and some of those types of things. Like I said, it's unfortunate the first 2 games you wasn't able to show you like how taking mid basically exposes the whole flank completely, and there's nothing you can do about it, by the way. The only thing is, in this case, you never heard us. Now I want you to also pay attention. If anybody pays attention to the recording of this game, they would know that you guys, by doing the inefficient trade, even the inefficient trade early, the fact that you guys had heavy gold units, you guys could have literally just walked in and wrecked us. If somebody goes back and watches the replay, you'll see that we didn't have enough pikes to stop you. We barely had enough skirms, and I'm sorry, we didn't even have enough cap to stop this. We were going to be on our back foot for a bit, because there's nothing for us to really properly contend with the Ellies. And Faisal didn't start building camels till Shoaib showed his Ellie when Shoaib came mid. If Shoaib actually went the other side, I'm telling you, it's a different game. And take it from me, I'm the one who created the map. So the only thing is, kind of like, think about like the map we played the week before. Because Munsif never hurt Sharky, and things were happening on the other side, basically Sharky had all the time to go and help everybody, which meant that it was an opportunity lost. So basically we just got overrun, couldn't really do anything. What changed last week was Munsif did not let Sharky off the hook, which meant that Shoaib and Faisal could actually do something, and so things were contested. That's really the difference. So for everything, there's an opportunity cost. The question is that how are you guys going to exploit? If something happens on one side, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing to exploit somebody doing that? Unfortunately, in this case, because the center became like You know, like the every the eye that everybody is like, oh my god, like that's what we really need to do. Also, I wouldn't have given up centers so easily. So, for example, just because you see that somebody got there first, it doesn't mean anything. It's like, so what? You're still gonna have to mine the. Point is, you're not gonna get to the stone. So you have the advantage of seeing that A, there's a wall, so there's things you can do to defend against the wall. B, you can do your own counters. For example, if it was me, I would send like, I would send a couple of rams, supported by bombard cannons. Onagers can't stop that, and my bombard cannons will provide cover for the rams. And the way Salman built the wall, there was no gate, so he couldn't get to him. And that's how you destroy the gate. Like, you destroy the wall. Once you destroy the wall, you're back in the game. Literally, you're back there without spending much in mid at all. And by the way, while you're doing that, the army that you had, you just send it in. You're like, here, deal with this now. While that whole air thing is being contested. And anecdotally, I think Logan had the right idea. He built like a bombard cannon guy, so he could build 1 or 2 and keep harassing the villagers there. I mean, what are people going to do? I mean, there's nothing much to do. It's just such a limited space there, so the whole thing is contested. So, I guess my point simply is that you didn't need that much to actually hit mid with, even if somebody got there first. And more importantly, if somebody's spending time doing that, make them pay. Make them pay if you believe that you have this huge advantage in numbers, especially gold unit investment. So that to me is the difference in terms of the opportunity, right? Like, that's really what the difference is. Everything else is fine. I'm glad to see that the spacing issues are not as apparent, even with this scenario. Even not taking advantage of the spacing on each side, I'm still saying that looking at this map, it's not necessarily as crazy as last time. So that was an improvement, which is good. But, all these maps are there to challenge you guys. Because if you think about it, even the map we played last week, the guy in the corner is building, but whoever has to support him, he has limited means of supporting. So if you don't build right, that guy is not the support guy in the middle, and the pocket guy in the middle is going to have the hardest time figuring out how the heck to support him. So I'm just saying, like, those are things that then you can exploit. So it's not just about sending units to scout. You can also see the buildings there and be like, oh shit, the pocket guy can't support this guy because of the way he built. So even if we attack him, he ain't going to be able to support him. So freaking, that's a great opportunity for you guys to be like, oh yeah, let's knock this guy. And that would have helped determine which side of the flank, like which side of the opposite side of the map that you wanted to fight. So all I'm saying is spacing, optimal communication, setting the market, all of that has to do with everybody like kind of being a little bit on the same page. That's the difference. But other than that, though, unfortunately we didn't get to the layering as much. I thought last game we actually got to layering. I think the first battle was a pretty good battle. Unfortunately, the inefficient trade really kind of hurt, because the Khmer need a lot of gold. By the way, the other thing I want you all to think about is Khmer super heavy, and then Celts, if he's going siege, could be super heavy, unless he didn't. And then Sharky, you were going Cav straight up. So you were kind of okay. And Logan would be probably most hurt, because again, he needed, if he was going like mainly siege support, he would really need that gold in order to continue to help. And I would have liked to at least, I did see some. I would have liked to see some better Scorp management. That would have been nice. With the onagers, that would have been actually good. So kind of like Scorps, onagers, infantry, right? And then the LEs are kind of like tanking up front. The LE numbers were fine. I thought that was okay. Trebs was okay too. By the way, the Trebs was good. Like using the Treb range to take out buildings in mid, perfect. Like that's exactly what you do. To keep taking out those buildings so that nobody can like basically force the person to go further and further and further away from the resources so everything is contested. So I think Shuaib, you built that, right? Like you built the Trebs.
See, I think Sif helped a little bit too, but I was the one that was taking out the buildings in mid, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
That was a great play. Just make sure like next time somebody's there to have pikes there, and then you're okay. Nobody will come and attack that because it's like too annoying to like. How are you going to attack that? It's tough. But other than that, like yeah. So that was actually pretty good. Like you know, y'all did pretty good there. But obviously, you guys know that again. We made this map. All of this is to help. You know, I don't want to spend too much time on the win-loss thing. I'm just trying to figure out like. So I guess Shoaib, from your side, could you like or Logan either? So you guys are still saying that you guys want to chalk it out to this was really a map thing, or like did we actually exercise the stuff we learned from last 2 weeks in this game, or no?
I don't think I mean, necessarily got to, right? I mean, I think the scouting was kind of inconsistent as well, right? I mean, like for example, when we're busy in mid, and then I think on the other side, like Castle has his TC up, collecting resources and stuff, uncontested, right?
Right.
I mean, I called that out. It's kind of like we lost mid and we lost the other resource pal, right?
Hmm.
So, and then of course the left resource pal is kind of where you're at usually, so we don't really go there. But so I think it was just like bad, I guess, execution on our part overall. I mean, like Faisal said, I think also the first 2 games we kind of got helped out because they were not really active either, right? And then Faisal was going mid as opposed to Salman, so that can help that a little bit. But
So weird. So I was doing. You know how you box with your mouse? It was randomly not doing it. So basically, every like 5 seconds, I would not be able to like choose villagers. So so basically, I was mostly trying to do it with the hotkeys, but even then, like I couldn't move villagers. So it was just I didn't know till it turns out that Faisal did a good job saying that, hey man, your mouse, I think your mouse is kaput, it's dying. And fair enough, we changed that. So it wasn't even the computer; it was a stupid mouse the whole time. Just kind of sucks. I assumed that it was the computer, but it wasn't. Unfortunately, it took us like like we lost 2 games on that shit. Sucks. Logan, you still contend that it's a map thing and it's not a experience thing, or what?
You're
Well,
muted.
wouldn't that be an experience thing? We
For
just
what?
need more practice on this map. I mean, I think this map throws in a lot of variables that we are not used to, I think.
I see. What did you struggle with particularly this time?
Well, to be honest, I was checked out.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't
well,
think that's fair to everybody if you're checking out
yeah,
like.
next time I think just call it and we'll resign, right?
I don't think that's fair. Like, I'd rather I switch you out or do something rather than you be with a bunch of people who are fully committed to trying and then you're checking out. Like, how is that fair?
It's not, you're right.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying.
That's why I kind of wanted to just let them play, and I was kind of just taking a seat, like I don't know, a general view and saying like, hey, all right, move this, move that. Like, I don't know, just trying to help in that regard because maybe I was like, I don't know, seeing if that would work. And I feel like it kind of did. I was like, all right, rally here, post up here, and pulling. And they were listening. It was cool. And then obviously we were outmanned in terms of what do you call it, like resources and stuff. They were like, I had to give Shoaib a bunch of gold, stuff like that. But
Yeah, but I don't think that really helps the. I mean, everyone's listening to you because everyone's fully engaged. Nobody's mentally checked out. That's the key. Like you just sitting back and saying, "Oh, I did this to help," doesn't mean anything because the difference is that they're at 100% efficiency, and you're like at 25%. So then, how's that? It's just, you know,
Logan, you should have taken the swap, man. Simone was adjusting it. You should have swapped out with me.
like we could. I mean, there's a lot of configurations we can do, but what I don't want is like when people are committed in game, like everybody's putting their time and effort, and everyone's doing it, and they're making time for Saturday night. I want to make sure that everyone's like, if everybody else is committed and wants to have fun and are doing this, I mean, come on, you know, that was kind of like a low blow and uncalled for thing, unfortunately. Don't want to see that happen again, though. So if we got issues or we got something and we got to talk about it, then we can talk about it. But just as a group, I just don't want to kind of deal with like half-ass plays, and I mean, then it's kind of like we already have to deal with people that are not. I mean, they're 100% and they're trying, and then other people judge them and say, "Well, you didn't do this, you didn't do this, you didn't do this." And some of that criticism is fair, but I mean, the person's trying, so we kind of like are okay with it. The worst thing is like you're doing 25%, and no, and then it's like people can't question. They're like, "Oh, is he just like there's something wrong here? Like he's not here, or he's having other issues." And now we're everyone's like, because everyone's assuming you're at 100%, but in fact you're not, and
Well,
just
what's to
bad.
say? So watching the replay and stuff, obviously things have changed. But what's to say that my views going into the game were kind of? I mean, you heard me or saw me write it, and clearly they were wrong. Watching the replay, but the map is tilted in terms of there's only 3 boars on your side. However, that did not come into play because we actually killed the boars before Saman even had to take one out. So that's what I was. I was like, what? How did we still lose mid when that happened? I'm watching the replay, and so basically, I thought basically Saman just has an easy walk in. That's what I'm going into these games so thinking, oh, he has 3 boars, we have 6. But then that's actually not the case. What happened was Shoaib basically, I don't know what happened, but he sent only 3 villagers to his town center. Now, I'm not saying that's the game changer, but Saman sends a bunch, so his TC goes up fast. And if we want mid and we want to go fast to get mid, we can't just send 3. So that's one thing. And then I dropped the ball too. Is our onager came out super late, and I'm trying to think of why. I remember saying Shoaib like I don't have gold, or was that after? That might have been after, but whatever. So like my timing was off too, and then Simon's already just like he's got his siege workshop, he's got his onager ready to go. He gets that berry and goes through. So that's what happened. So we basically we got outplayed there. But I'm thinking going into that game that it's tilted because there's only 3 boars, we have to kill 6. So he's already first making that town center. So yeah, I'm like totally wrong in that regard. And had I known that, I think I probably wouldn't have checked out. And because I basically checked out after that happened, after he took because I thought me going mid with Shoaib, we would go faster at getting mid because it was just Shoaib before. So maybe having me get the onager, him do that, he doesn't have to split like tasks. However, I guess it complicated things or whatever. But the fact that Saman still got mid, I'm thinking, it's basically, he's always going to get mid regardless. But I think going into another game, that might not be the case. Now that saying, like, maybe someone sends 8 villagers, whatever, it doesn't matter. But the point is, we were just slow, I guess. And Shoaib, when he cleared that berry, I didn't have my onager, so then that even further makes it like I should have my onager ready to go once that berry was cleared. But so basically, I was just, what do you call it? I was obviously wrong, like assuming that. So that's something obviously shouldn't have assumed, but it is kind of deceptive though when the map does have the berries or not berries, the boars less on that side right there, and then 2, it's also what's it called? You guys do have way more space on that side. I mean, just count the number of squares from our Vitorias. So that further adds like frustration to me because it's like I mean, I just want to. I get it. You're making these maps, and I mean, they are very creative and stuff. I mean, we've never played a map, or at least, I mean, that I've played, where we have like 5 lanes, and like the side ones are like littered with boars. I mean, that's cool. And then there's also the strips of gold and stone. So, I mean, you obviously put a lot of work in, and that's why, like, when I said the map sucks earlier, I just like immediately regretted it. I just felt like it's kind of tilted. You guys have all this space, and then we're like scrunched regardless off the bat. It's not symmetrical at all. I mean, I feel like just putting maybe a little more time to make it symmetrical, to not even have that assumption, to even have that in my back of my mind, is possibly something to be aware of. Or, I mean, that's just my take. Like, I want a fair game, and when it's kind of put in that regard, like, it kind of throws people off and throws, oh, this isn't fair. I mean, we all play sports, right? So when we know that the referee is putting like, oh, he's making calls for this, obviously there's that frustration, right? But then we all want a fair game. I mean, and I guess that's going back to, I always want that. So, but it's something to consider. But if we want to play without that, that's fine. I mean, like, just say fuck Logan. But that's just it's just kind of a bummer that we have to have this even talked about. Like, look at the boars. I mean,
but you won the first 2 games when I was mid. You know.
Well, what's to say? Like he just said, though, on the side, though, like Saman could have went all on right.
He couldn't. He didn't.
Like,
I was getting overwhelmed. Dude, go through the replay of the first 2 games, right? You guys crushed me. You won both games. But I'm not really gonna do much. Even if he could, he wouldn't. He doesn't. And you know, it proved the point. I did not have what it took, and that's why the swap happened, right? And the fates changed when the swap happened, and then you identified it further when you said, well, Salman's showing up with, you know, a different configuration, and he's coming up more efficient, right? That's got nothing to do with the squares on the map, right? It's got more to do with players being efficient, right? And so that's the thing, dude. I mean, when you had a lesser experienced player like myself in mid, you guys pretty much won the first 2 games.
Right. So right. No, I agree. Like, after the fact, obviously it didn't matter. But what I'm saying, though, is it already puts that mindset into people's mind. Like, think about if what StarCraft has the handicap of -50 and stuff. Like, you can actually make the other player. So that's pretty much what I'm feeling going into these games. But I did. Obviously, now it's seeing that, oh, we totally just missed that. But that's the problem. Like, if it was perfectly symmetrical, you can't even say anything about that. Like a basketball court, if the hoops, one was 9 feet and the other one was 10, I mean, obviously the team that's
I'd be the one bitching, right?
Like,
because I'd say they have 6 on that side, they have 6 on this side, they have 3 players clearing out, or definitely more than 1 player clearing out all these freaking boards, and you expect this 1 player who's not as experienced as the rest to do pretty much do the job of like 2 players on the other side? Are you kidding me? And this was a bit of what was happening when the switch happened on my side, right? Basically, it was me saying, it doesn't matter because they're just more efficient than me. And it doesn't matter because even when and by the way, so I did come in early in game 2, I think. I came in and I believe I cleared out Shoaib with an onager, right? I cleared him out. You guys came in with a vengeance after, right? So, you know, going back to the point where, you know, oh, well, Salman came in first and he always going to have a, you know, first dibs, you know, easy path in. Well, so did Fassel, right? And Fassel came in and freaking tore in to Shoaib with the onager hits and, like, denied him, right? And then what happened? You guys freaking steamrolled, you know? But that did not occur subsequently, and I think that's where we need to focus the attention on, is there are some other mental defeats going on, right? What if Blue shows up to take mid, right? You see what I'm saying? So I'm just saying that it's kind of like, no, I think that, you know, if we had Sharky on our side and Sharky was trying to make a play for mid, do you think he'd give a shit about the number of board counts? Hell no. See what I'm saying? So I think the difference here is you identified it better, is that efficient players maneuver more efficiently and they get to their objectives more quickly and they change the face of the game. Now, you could have still done something, but I did never see a concerted retaliation like you guys pulled on my ass
They,
First
they,
two games.
they tried. They did try.
Well, not the last game really, but yeah, the
No,
previous.
you guys tried, bro.
What?
Come
Try with
on.
what?
What do you mean?
Try-
You tried honor jamming from the side, and then you sent the other Ellie's from the other side in the mid.
Yeah. I mean, I thought you meant like trying to get mid back itself.
All I know is first two games, four colors came fucking pouring through mid is what happened first two games. I did not see that again.
And we should, yeah,
After
then we
I
didn't,
switched.
yeah, we should have put more pressure, right? We didn't.
Well, to me, it's really like this, right? So I really don't honestly care about like the commentary regarding the symmetrical and this and that, the other. Like honestly, I don't really give a shit. I make these so that there are certain lessons and certain things that everybody can improve, and I'm kind of like done, and then I'm done with the map, and then we move on. I'm not gonna do the symmetrical thing and the numbers. I mean, even the games we were playing last week, Salman doesn't even one can look at it and I have a bit more space in my area than Salman does. He ain't the one bitching about it. It didn't really modify or change the game much of anything. So what if you got a few more boars on your side? It's like we're talking like stupid things because, and I consider it stupid because to me that's not the emphasis of why we're playing and what people need to do. I mean, yeah, I could easily say, oh well, you out pop us. And then you'd be like, oh well, I mean, so my point is, and it's a never-ending black hole of shit. The fact that I want to concentrate on is you went back, you had a sense of what you think is unjust in terms of not being symmetrical, but getting destroyed on what is correct. And I want to just concentrate on the fact that what is fair. On the small sliver of the map in mid that is fair, you guys got wrecked. So, hey, you know what? But because of your perception, you basically screwed 3 other people in your team. And then talk about all this other justification for it, which I don't give a shit about. All I care about is in the sliver of the map that you went back and said, oh shit, I guess the board's number were right and I screwed up. And okay, well, those are the types of things that are kind of important to know. But to then go off and be like mentally defeated and be like, you know what, I'm mentally checking out because screw this shit. That's not even the point. The point is, even if that happened, regardless, you know, you could argue that, oh, one could say, hey man, the mid side is closer to me and it's kind of further away for you. But then you have more space and we don't have as much space. But then shit, we're not that great, so we're not that efficient, so we still couldn't even get to mid, even though we're closer maybe to mid. I mean, if one starts nitpicking on map specific stuff, well then there's no end to it. But if one simply says, hey, you know, is this map just about somebody getting to mid? I mean, apparently it seems that mentally you guys, some of you at least are thinking mid is the all and be end all of the game. When actually it isn't. It absolutely isn't. The only difference is Salman knew every single time that in order to quote unquote demoralize you, he just needed to be in mid. Otherwise, Salman doesn't give a shit. He doesn't even give a shit about mid. But my point is, I want to only focus on this one point. You know, this area that I wanted to go in mid in, it was absolutely fair. But you know what? I thought it was not fair. Because how else could, you know, in that brain of yours, you never thought that, well, it's Salman and he's a better player generally and maybe more efficient and maybe that's why he's getting in mid faster. No. But that's not what got into your head. What got into your head was this effing map. Freaking imbalanced shit. And that, like, basically, quote unquote, what you call frustration and I call idiocity, basically screws up yourself mentally. So you go mental. And then your unsuspecting 100% guys who are just committed to the game are getting raped by your thinking. And then, honestly, you have the audacity to then say, hey, well, this, that, and the other, and blah, 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 blah. Like, the moment you said I mentally checked out, I honestly, no one gives a shit about anything else that comes after that, except saying, I take responsibility. I screwed up. It should have never happened, and I'll be better. And and expect 100% every single time for me because that's what my teammates are doing. Really, it starts and ends there. All this other stuff is kind of like irrelevant. Like the maps, all this other stuff, it'll continue to happen. Yeah, I mean, I want a certain experience for everybody, but I want people to learn too. And you know what? Yeah, chances are when you're going up against me, there is a skill gap. But that's why I don't want to be there. That's all. So if you're thinking everything is like, oh, everything is in balance, yeah, everything's in balance. But then if you're saying, well, no, sir, excuse me, I take umbrage. We need to have everything level set and everything needs to be in balance. Well, the moment I'm in the game, it's not balanced. So we can't be sticklers on one thing and we can't be sticklers about one thing and then not be stickler about the other thing.
Right. The other thing is that you couldn't have won at all tonight if the imbalance was always there, right? So you guys won. You guys won the first two games, right? And the difference definitely was Salmon. And actually, I don't need to repeat the point. You made it yourself. So now that we know it, I think it's fair to say that we're gonna try to stay committed. And if you feel that this is something that's bothering you enough, go ahead. I've always said it before, and tonight we've paused the game a couple of times. Pause the game, hop over to the other side, get the clarification you need. If we need to literally pause the game to make sure that everybody's, on the right page with each other, let's do it. Right? Can't waste other people's times. We gotta be respectful of that. So, I'm sure there's other people biting their tongues down. So I'm just saying that it's. I get the feeling of what, because I got screwed first two games and I literally resigned from mid. So I totally get what being demoralized is all about. I get it. But I need support at that point, and then I ask for support, and I asked my team, and they said, "Fine, now someone's going to take over this part." If you feel that there's something wrong, or there's something that's too much for you, or you don't want to, ask the guys to step up and do something because you can't do it, or just make it clear. Listen, I'm not going to be able to do this, and I'm not going to be able to do that. I did too much before, and I don't think it's worth it. It's way too much. It's not fun. It's stressful, right? So, and then let's make sure that before we launch the game, let's make sure we clear the certain concerns, even if you need to figure that out. Hopefully tonight helps you figure it out. I think that the map issues are not the big ones. Nobody really cares about them. Literally no one cares. It's always been the case.
Everybody's here, right? Like, besides Logan, who else has like this problem with maps and how they're structured and balance issues? Like, I just want to know if anybody else has the same issues.
Let's round robin. Sure. Answer the question, please.
I'm good overall. That's fine.
Sharky?
I don't really have a problem. I do agree that's maybe just missing the forest for the trees.
All right. Obviously, Simone, you might as well chime in. Round robin.
You're cutting in and out for me, Fassel.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for me too.
For me too.
Round robin. Round robin.
You're good now.
Okay.
I mean, I think for me, like, if it was a map issue, like, first of all, I think I would only talk about it if it was actually a 4v4, and if it was like a serious issue or a serious factor in the actual, outcome of the game, right? But at least in this context, for sure, I don't think it was a map issue.
Like if we start without stone, that's an issue. One boar, nah, it's missing a forest for trees.
And this is something I guess I haven't talked about tonight, right? Like, technically, even for us to really get to the mid, right? Or to, let's say, build a TC there or build a mill there or whatever. We don't have to take out all 6 boards, right, to do that. So,
Agreed.
because I'm just saying, I mean,
Mhm.
it's not like they're like all 6 clumped up together, right? They're not gonna aggro like that. So yeah, you eventually have to take care of them, but that's something we can do. It's not like there's like a small ass entrance and we had to kill 6 or 8 to even get there, right? So to me, it wasn't a big issue.
Salmon, map.
You know how I feel about maps. They don't. You 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 do your best, and if it's a little imbalanced, it's a little imbalanced. But that's not the main point of contention for the map.
Okay. So there you go. I mean, it's really not. I mean, a lot of it. Actually, after that first time, Fassel told me go in, make a modification to add another bush, very bush line, so that y'all could, like, people couldn't just like race to onager and get to center. Guess what? Hell no, I ain't changing it. Shit. We're gonna have to play through it. That's how that shit works. Because the point is that it wasn't just about like, and again, infatuation about mid. You know,
But
it
I mean
wasn't really about mid.
but that's something we talked about too, right? Like I think after the second or third game, I guess, right? Where
Hmm.
I remember the point I was making is like we don't necessarily have to even, let's say, necessarily go hard on mid, right?
Hmm.
But we do have to go hard on some front. We can't just
Yep.
be chilling and let Saman basically like, ramp up and hit
Agreed.
us hard, right? So it's
Agreed.
not like I was a stickler on like, okay, like we have to get mid or we lose the game. But when we're not getting mid, and on the other front they're just standing armies, and there's not really anything going on either, right? Which technically is like Fassel's area. So
Hmm.
that's what hurt us a lot tonight, I think.
And that's the bigger point that I'm trying to
And
get
also
to
Munsif
for
left,
you
you have
guys
to kind of
to
see
say
the
that.
replays too, right? Because obviously, I don't know if it was just a new map thing or something, but to me, I kind of felt like, and again, I have to validate it, but it felt like Munsif was still very late in getting his armies up, right? Like his military up and stuff.
I see. I see. I see.
So I don't, I mean, obviously, I know he's gotten better and stuff, right? But at least tonight, maybe it was a different maps. He wasn't under as much pressure or something, right? But
Sure.
it felt like he was kind of taking his time, because obviously when he was paired up with Logan, there was still like kind of like lack of pace there, and then when he was alone, it was even slower, right? So.
Mm.
Not gonna
Oh.
lie, if it was Dolo and Logan tonight,
Hmm.
and we would have been rolled every time, and Small would have been on the other side too. I can almost guarantee you, pretty much all the games we would have been rolled because we just don't have that aggressive, you know, response mechanism, right? And it usually takes somebody like Hodam to start participating hardcore to get our asses to react and respond. So I was hoping that Logan would not, take this too personal, whatever, right? And understand that honestly, the whole landscape would have been way, way, way different if Dobo was playing tonight and it was the regular setup of Sharky, Dobo, Saman and Logan, right? And I just feel that we would have been crushed all night long because
Yeah,
those two,
but what you
those
see,
two would have
the
been
point.
moving in hard.
Yeah, but the point, that's not even the point. The point I'm trying to make is that the last 2 weeks on either side, teams actually made moves where they defended one area or something, but they, like, if they lost something on one side, they did some gains on the other side. Okay? That's kind of like what happened. And then this week after, the team of 3 that was on our side realized that, they were not, even if they were losing one side or defending one side, they completely let the other side go. So then they were like, you know what? We're gonna actually do a counteroffensive on the other side and force the dynamic to change. And literally, that's something, those lessons, by the way, are something that both team of, like, for the 6 players in their common unique combinations, everybody kind of did that. Like, everybody learned that lesson.
Yeah, I think tonight one positive for me was I think Sharky did a pretty decent job, right? When we kind of have had him switch around, and I gave him specific roles to like clear out boards or cover this area or that.
Mm-hmm.
So I think also he was under a bit more pressure too, but I
Sure.
think he remained calm tonight, and he actually was pretty productive. So
Well, I saw
but
a
that
lot
was
of
pretty,
forces from
yeah,
him.
that was pretty good, and I think our Civ picks overall were pretty solid tonight too. Um,
Hey, that was a very nasty Civ pick, by the way. The second game, or the second game, the one that we actually played, the
The
one
one
before
I was trying to get the hell out away from.
the Eagle Warrior one,
Oh,
the
okay, yeah.
the Eagle Warriors with the everything else,
When he
very
went
nasty.
Mayans.
Which is whatever, that's fine. But I'm saying that Civ combination, real nasty,
mhm.
real nasty. It's another thing like how you guys were gonna layer and attack, but that was refreshingly one of the good Civ combinational picks that you guys did actually. Your most successful Civ picks. By the way, the other ones were kind of like kind of crappy a little bit. Like in the other ones, you guys would eventually get rolled anyway. But that one was kind of nice because you were trying to account for like siege, and at the same time you had Shark Eagle offense, and then you had like a nice support structure in mid, like in the middle. So you had like the siege unlock, you had the infantry there, and then you had like some offensive weapons. So to me, that was like one of the better Civ choices that you guys kind of like, or the combinations that you kind of did. So well done with that. Like to me, that was big positive. So all in all, I'm just saying like if you lose something one side, do something somewhere else. What you can't do is lose on two fronts.
Mhm.
That's what you can't do. It's not just unique to this map, it's also the other map. And more than likely we'll end up switching back to the other map. Um, but it's practically the same lesson. What are you guys going to do? And my focus is going to be going forward still is I want to see more 3v3 interactions. It's so me and Salman are still going to be coming a bit later in the game. The later we come into the game, the better it is because that early game situational issues that you guys have, to me, that's where the game is really interesting and
That
dynamic.
and also takes away, a lot of the excuses, right? In terms of
True.
you and Saman's, skill level and stuff. So
Right, right. So it's really up to you guys as to how you want to do it. But I'm just saying, going forward, I think we've had good games for both teams, like generally speaking. And I want to kind of continue that trend for a bit to see how the 3v3s play out. So that I'll leave up to you guys. But I mean, at this point, it's just going to be a lot of that, and then putting you all together. And then Shoaib and Salman and I will talk more about like later on post games. I mean, so far post game analysis between me and Salman has been pretty decent. Like y'all have been doing pretty decent. So everyone's learning and getting better. By the way, I don't know if you guys noticed. Generally, people's early game is getting better from before. Now the new map in Munsif, we have to maybe Shoaib, maybe you can look at that recording later and figure out like, if he was
check
too
it out.
slow. Because it is not neat. It's not it's a known thing with him where he goes like, I don't know if
Uh,
it takes him one map,
No,
like
I know.
one instance.
Yeah, maybe I know. I know. I think it was well, we kind of retried the first game a few times, right? But when we actually, I think, got it to work a bit,
Mhm.
I think that's when he was paired up with me, and I was kind of like coordinating him a lot, right?
Mm.
To the point where he's like, "Give me a break. This is too much."
Oh shit. Oh shit.
But
You micromanaged his ass.
yeah, but but on the other side, I guess he was kind of left alone too, right? So maybe that also was another factor. But because obviously I was kind of like making him, do like multiple things and kind of kicking him to
Mm.
do faster and stuff. So
Okay, okay. So maybe there's a little bit of that. Okay. He was like, "What the hell is this guy, man?" And because you're your little butt buddy, he couldn't tell you to shut the hell up.
and then I think one of the maps, I think the Eagle Warriors on him like where are the halves, because he was supposed to do the halves, and then he's like,
Right.
it's funny. You always ask me after I lose all of them.
Yeah. He sent them too far up front.
Yeah,
That's
I
what
know.
happened.
I know.
Salman took care of him, and then he couldn't
All
help.
that, and I think some, someone now those Arbalest guys and other people too,
Mhm.
right? So I
Yeah,
don't think
yeah.
I really recognize that either. I guess so.
Yeah, I didn't. By the way, with that new unit on the map, did anyone call that out, like
I
to
I
Munsif?
I called it out to Logan. I guess like just to ask him like, hey, like what can we use against that, right?
Right, right. Okay.
But yeah, we had a pretty good mix of units tonight, like Pallies, Camels, right?
Correct, correct.
Wasn't too bad.
Yeah, every map has a different like strategy, but the strategy keeps changing based on the personnel on terms of what you can actually execute. That's what I'm hoping I can teach you guys, because by going through some of these exercises with the maps, the other map I like because you kind of know now, or everybody kind of knows the overall strategy, and now you guys are just trying to figure out execution. But obviously, I think it's a little bit too much to ask for everyone. By the way, just my take. Like introducing a new map. Yes, it's new and it changes things, but I think it's like another variable that changes it too much.
Well, that and
It's
I think
it's
with
my
you and
take.
I think with you and Salman both on the other side in terms of like the game knowledge and just guidance and stuff also kind of suffers, right? So
Sure. Yeah,
so
yeah,
that
yeah, yeah, yeah.
that
Right,
that
right,
also
right,
that
right.
also that also kind of hurt us combined with the new map and stuff, right? So
The litmus test is always going to still be is that if we're outnumbered with teamwork, you guys should be able to do decent. Like you should be able to do decent. Like that's the litmus test eventually. However, once we have everybody on, I'm telling you, it's really mostly a 3v3 game. With me and Salman just kind of like anecdotally helping. Even in the beginning, we're not really be helping that much. It's really you guys just working on your strategy and working on your execution part. So that's what I want to continue on. So if there's another variable we want to make into a constant, like the map, we'll do that till you guys kind of get really good with execution. And once we feel like we're pretty good, unless of course you guys say, hey man, this is getting stale. In which case, obviously, it's a legitimate thing to change the map. But till that time, I mean, I don't think like anybody has a problem with the previous map, right? Like everyone's kind of cool with it.
Yeah.
yeah, the
Okay.
last one is good.
Yeah, the one guy that'll probably have a problem with it is the one who's silent. Yo, Logan. Yo, yo.
He's checking the map out.
What's up?
You're you're all right with the map we've been playing the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, whatever.
Counting the number of boars in mid, and our side has more. Okay, yeah. So we're gonna keep to that map going forward for a bit. That's another constant we'll have. So the strategy part I'll still leave up to you guys to figure out. The idea would be is that the I think especially the early game, we're gonna let you guys all kind of do your thing. And eventually when we come to layering, or if a new unit comes, some game knowledge like Shoaib is saying, if there's some like game knowledge thing that comes up, you can anecdotally ask that. But other than that, it's kind of like really up to you guys to kind of execute it.
This last map wasn't bad, man. The one we just played.
I know.
Maybe we should,
I'm telling.
I think we can primarily do the other map, but I wouldn't mind doing like a game on this map with like kind of like a draft kind of pick
I see
scenario,
it.
right? Just to make it look fun. So
Hey, if everybody else is on board with it, I don't have a problem. Hopefully, Munsif is going. I know he'll be better, just because he's comfortable with the map.
I mean, overall he did pretty good still, right? So
Okay. Yeah, it's really up to you guys. I mean, I'll leave it up for the vote. Like, it's up to you guys as to if you want to add that into the rotation. We can certainly keep it in the do it in the rotation, and once we'll have the 4 players. The only thing is, there are things I want to change when it becomes like the real 4v4. because then I'm gonna make it into a 3v3.
Yeah. So we can do
So
that.
I'm gonna try to figure out. I'm gonna use the same map, by the way, but I'll lock myself and Salman out.
Mhm.
So I'm just saying, like, there'll be a difference, not in the complete overall thing, but there'll still be a difference where Salman and I are gonna be kind of like locked out, and that locked out time is what you guys have to fight your or do whatever you need to do in your
Instead of the berry line, you'll put cliffs.
Nothing too crazy like that, but I'm gonna I'm gonna definitely make some modifications to it from which will take up even more space. I know it's gonna take up some more space, so it'll be very interesting to see how everybody builds around that.
Yeah, I think we can try this maybe, yeah, like that map in this map in that format, and then maybe let Dobo and Sharky pick teams to make it more fun.
Pick teams, like what do you mean by that?
Like, which players they want to team up with.
You really don't want even gameplay. Generally, if just so you guys know, generally, if you guys were fairly all together, in your playing,
Mhm.
there's an option where, for example, like Salman could go, I could go one, Salman could go two, or whatever, and then the rest of you all go question marks.
Oh,
And then,
okay, yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah.
what do you mean it's a good idea? I'm just saying, like, if you didn't hear about the if, I said if you guys were fairly close.
No, but I mean, it's for fun. That's all good.
Can we do like a nomad map too?
Well, didn't we do a nomad style
No, but
map
make it like
before?
random teams. So you're like, wait, is blue an
Yeah,
enemy? You're walking by him.
The only problem with that if somehow Salman ends up with me, it's really bad. Which, by the way, you can mitigate, right? Like, you could mitigate in the sense that I take one, Salman takes two, but then, you know
Then
what
everyone,
I mean?
yeah, that's
Yeah.
exactly how you said it. Yeah.
The only problem with that is if, for example, what if you're on my side? Like shit. It's just kind of like an issue. Like, say you, Fassel, and
You don't like
like,
playing with me.
well, it's not about playing with you. I'm more interested in that balance. Like that balancing thing. That's what makes it hard. Like, I'll tell you, for example, I'll tell you where it works. Sharky and Dobo could be interchanged. Like they could go, you know what I mean? Like they could literally go like question mark, like random. Um, Maybe to some extent even Schwabe and Fassel could be question mark. But then it's like then it's tricky. Like Munsif is like in this weird space. He's like in this like kind of
Well,
good
if
early.
you lead Sharky I think can beat Munsif for sure. So
Oh shit. Man.
yeah, you've seen it, and then we've obviously seen Munsif have like a killer game too. But yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. The problem with me leading is then you end up playing. You're just a puppet.
I'm talking
the
if like
problem.
Saman was leading or I was leading, or if Shoaib has a good thought. I mean, or Fassel just follows up. Although Sharky wouldn't really lead, so it wouldn't be because Fassel's great at support. So, but if
I
Fassel
mean,
had the lead, I don't think he wouldn't have
Sharky
him.
just needs to share his Steam information with Horum, have him log in as Sharky, and take care of Munsif, man.
You're like
I mean,
Sharky. What the freak? What the
I mean,
hell is this?
it'll
So-
be it'll be a stream to remember.
so Shoaib, Fassel reminded me, kind of got me in a better mood. Was you asked me what our strategy was. Beat the shit out of Munsif. Well, he didn't win it all the night. Shoaib's not laughing. No, it was the goal, man. No. It was actually kind of a bummer that Dobo couldn't play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I I know he's practicing all week too, so.
Yeah, he was all looking forward to it, and then like yesterday he was like, I might not be able to play, and then obviously he said it was it earlier today or when did he
Earlier
send
today.
it? Yeah. Then I was like, man, really? Who's still visiting during COVID? Come on, especially when it's not even holiday time.
Yeah.
Y'all get any snow?
No, not in Florida.
Yeah, Texas got swamped.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
I heard.
Oh,
I heard.
Yeah, I think our house was fine because we lost power for more than like 2 hours in the whole week.
Oh jeez.
And yeah, so it's like,
My
and,
dad lost
like-
power for
like-
4 days.
as far as the pipes, everyone's pipes burst. But me and my brother, when we saw it happening, we just turned off all the valves and thawed the pipes and then
nice.
turned it back on.
Yeah. My dad just couldn't work for 4 days. He was like, "We got power Thursday," but he had a bunch of well, he used some batteries, but he went to his car to charge his phones and stuff. But yeah,
Ah. Okay.
And- but he's better.
Chucky, what city are you in?
No, Plano, which is north of Dallas.
But
Up
that's a
north.
pretty posh. Dallas and up north is pretty posh, right? I relative to Houston, right?
Irving and Las Colinas, yes, those are the posh places. Plano is more desi, I guess. I guess it would be the equivalent of Sugarland down in Houston.
What are you guys talking?
Yeah.
Just trying to figure out, how bad infrastructure is, right?
Infrastructure-wise,
Basically-
my hypothesis is because we're next to a fire station. And
Ooh, that'll always make a difference.
West Plano also has a bunch of hospitals, so they want to keep those
Ooh.
up.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean,
If you're by a fire station or any utility, you'll be the first one to get everything.
Well, yeah, that was the
if
funny.
anything goes down.
Yeah, my dad was like, "Yeah, make sure when a hurricane comes, you have that water because that was so handy for us." I'm like, "Dad, I know. Like, if I had known you had a snowstorm, you should have asked me first what to do." I'm like, "We deal with this all the time. Like, if you lose the power, like, make sure. Like, obviously, you don't want to fill up your tub when it
Right.
freezes, but yeah. I wonder what that would obviously break your tub, maybe. But yeah."
All right, guys, I'm gonna call it a night.
All right,
Hey, brother,
Yep.
man.
Good night, guys.
That was a good one, man. We'll
Right,
see you
yeah.
next week.
Shit.
Hold on.